I just ruined my boss's life in under 5 seconds. I thought today would be boring. Fix the slides. Survive the meeting. Maybe sip my 4th coffee before I collapse from stress. Easy. Ha 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 ha. The moment I barged into the boardroom, disaster hit. The projector cable snagged under Adrian's chair. I yanked it. Nothing. I yanked harder, and suddenly a glass of water went flying like a tiny crystal missile across the table. Time slowed. I swear I could hear the slow motion splash. Oh God, oh God, oh God. Panic spiked through me. Laptop in peril. What do I grab? The nearest thing. My fingers clamped around fabric. Tug a loud rip echoed like a gunshot. I froze. My stomach dropped. The room fell silent. Everyone's eyes were on him. On Adrian, my boss. Half-dressed. The shirt is gaping open. Chest just there. Like he was some goddamn Greek statue glaring at me like I'd committed treason. My brain short-circuited. My career flashed before my eyes in horrifying slow motion. The room cleared faster than you can say intern disaster. Everyone bolted, probably laughing nervously, probably crying. I wanted to crawl under the table and die. But Adrian didn't yell, didn't move, didn't even blink. He stepped closer, calm, too calm, dangerous calm. His voice was low, smooth, and terrifying. Lock the door. I swallowed so hard my throat hurt. My hands shook. My knees threatened to buckle. I wasn't sure what was worse, losing my job in humiliating fashion, or whatever Adrian had just implied. I couldn't breathe, couldn't think, couldn't even form a coherent apology. All I could do was stare at him and silently pray the floor would swallow me whole. Flashback. I never thought I'd survive my first week at Vail Marketing without embarrassing myself. And yet, here I am, standing in a boardroom soaked in water, staring at my half-naked boss like a complete idiot. But let's back up a little, because this whole train wreck didn't start 5 seconds ago. I got this internship fresh out of college, with nothing but a marketing degree, 0 connections, and a caffeine addiction that should have come with a warning label. I thought I was prepared for long hours, impossible deadlines, and bossy coworkers. What I wasn't prepared for was Adrian Vail. Adrian Vail. The name alone makes everyone in the office tense. And I mean everyone. Sharp suits, a sharper mind, and an aura that could probably kill a man. He's elegant, composed, and terrifyingly competent, like someone had invented a human version of a Swiss watch. Perfectly precise, and cold enough to freeze your soul. And of course, he's ridiculously attractive. Green eyes that seem to see right through your soul. Black hair slicked perfectly. Skin flawless. That posture that makes everyone else look like toddlers trying to play dress-up. I first saw him on my interview day. I walked in, nervous as hell, spilling my portfolio and nearly tripping over my own feet. He didn't even flinch. Just looked at me like I'd just announced I was a complete amateur, and I probably was. But instead of yelling, he gave me a small, nearly imperceptible smirk. That smirk, tiny, dangerous, like he knew exactly how many mistakes I'd make before lunch, haunts me to this day. Since then, every interaction has been a minefield. One wrong word, one clumsy mistake, and it's like you've detonated a bomb in the room. And me? I am the walking definition of clumsy. I drop things, spill things, trip over air. Basically, I'm a disaster with a coffee addiction. Yet somehow, by some miracle, I survived this long without completely humiliating myself in front of him, until today. And now, as I stare at Adrian in a state of horror, half naked because of my own dumb hands, I realize the irony. Every horror story I'd imagined about working with him, public humiliation, being yelled at, fired on the spot, pales in comparison to this. The calm, dangerous way he's approaching me, the slight smirk tugging at his lips, it's like he's enjoying my panic, And maybe, just maybe, that thought terrifies me more than losing my job. Adrian Vale isn't just my boss. He's the kind of man who makes you question your entire existence in a single look. And somehow, against all logic, I've spent months trying not to crash and burn under his gaze. And now, here we are. Wet floor, ripped shirt, and me wishing the earth would swallow me whole. Flashback ends. I honestly thought my career was over. I mean, who rips their boss's shirt and survives? But somehow, instead of firing me, Adrian smirks. Like a tiny, infuriating smirk that says, I know exactly what just happened, and you're not getting away with it. You've got guts, intern. You're coming with me on the Milan project. I blinked. Twice. 3 times. Then my brain short-circuited. Did he just promote me? Make me his damage control partner? My life had gone from 0 to terrifyingly insane in under 5 minutes. Of course, the office went wild. The incident had gone viral internally. Emails, chat threads, whispers in the break room. Apparently, everyone loved Adrian's humanized moment. And somehow, that meant I was officially the lucky intern in the boss's orbit. Lucky? Ha. I felt like I was dangling over a cliff by my shoelaces. The thing is, Adrian didn't just notice me. He noticed all of me. Every panic-fueled stumble, every awkward word, every coffee spill. And instead of firing me, he seemed entertained, dangerous, electric. And I couldn't stop staring. 2 days later. The plane landed, jet-lagged me. Gorgeous city of Milan outside the window, and somehow one hotel room booking error. Because of course that happened. We step in. Tiny room. Single king-size bed. I think I start hyperventilating. Adrian doesn't even flinch. Calm as a monk, leaning casually against the desk, arms crossed. And I'm panicking because, what the hell do we do now? Cue the rainstorm. Milan decides to bless us with torrential rain during our first walk to a client meeting. I dash under the awning, trying to keep my laptop dry. Fail. Totally fail. Soaked through. The shirt is sticking to me. Hair plastered to my forehead. Mortification level. 1000. Adrian. Calm. Smirking. Hands somehow appeared to help me dry off. Way too close. My heart's pounding like a drum solo. Every brush of his sleeve, every accidental oh shit elbow bump makes me want to crawl under the nearest table. Or kiss him. Totally inappropriate, I know, but my brain is a traitor. You're soaking, he says, voice low and smooth. Here. He takes my jacket off my shoulders and drapes it over me. I swear, for a split second, his fingers linger too long. My brain melts. I'm imagining things. Number. Stop imagining. Too late. Then, he smiles. Not the intimidating, business-like smirk I've been terrified of for months. A real smile. Warm. Soft. And I swear I hear angels. Or a tiny harp or something. I can't look at him without feeling my chest squeeze. We get back to the hotel. Towels, hair dryers, awkward, oh my god, I'm so clumsy, commentary from me. And Adrian, teasing, flirty, sliding jokes in when I least expect them. I try to maintain professionalism. Fail. Every time he smiles, I feel like I'm 2 seconds away from tripping over literally everything in the room. I swear this is what chaos looks like. Cute, electric, terrifying chaos. And somehow, I'm loving every second. Later that night. It's 11:47 p.m. I'm still at the hotel desk, desperately trying to fix slides for tomorrow's meeting, while Adrian lounges across the room, casually sipping espresso like he invented calm itself. Jamie, he says, voice low, deadly calm, you've formatted that graph wrong. Again I blink, hard, my brain freezes. I look at him and think, oh no, he's going to fire me. He's going to fire me and then eat my soul. Instead, he smirks. That dangerous little smirk. And for some reason, my knees weaken. Every time he smiles, it feels like my body forgets how to be a person. Sit closer. You're giving me a cramp. I stare at him. Did he just? My brain shorts out. I shift carefully, inching my chair toward him like a scared kitten. And then he nudges me again. Closer. Closer. My notes are in chaos. My coffee is dangerously near the edge of the desk. My heartbeat is an actual drumline. He reaches over to point at the slide, and our fingers brush. Tiny, accidental, nothing. And my brain decides this is the most intimate contact possible in human history. I jerk back slightly. Relax, he says, teasing, or you'll give yourself a heart attack. I cough. I try to look professional. Fail. I accidentally knocked over my pencil cup. Pens scatter across the floor. He bends down to pick them up, and I notice how his suit jacket falls open just a little, showing that sharp-toned chest I am definitely not supposed to be staring at. You stare too much, he says, straightening up, voice calm but laced with amusement. I choke on my words. I wasn't... Relax, he interrupts, smiling that smile again. Warm. Actual warmth. Stop melting, Jamie, stop melting. I want to apologize. I want to run. I want to throw my laptop out the window and hide under the bed. My thoughts are incoherent. Every nerve in my body is screaming, he's too close, too hot, too... Adrian, why are you like this? And of course, he notices. Of course, he always notices. You're flustered, he says softly, leaning just a fraction closer, and it's adorable. Adorable. I nearly fall out of my chair. My entire body betrays me. Heart pounding. Fingers trembling. And all I can do is stare at him like a complete idiot while he casually sips his espresso like none of this is catastrophic for my dignity. This is what working with Adrian Vale is like. Chaotic, terrifying, and somehow the most fun I've ever had. The next morning, I thought I could survive the Milan office without killing myself. I was wrong. We're setting up for a client demo. And somehow, of course, somehow, I managed to knock over a full cup of coffee. Directly. Onto Adrian's perfectly tailored suit. Time freezes. The smell of espresso fills the air. My stomach drops. My face probably matches the color of the carpet. Jamie, he says, calm, too calm, dangerous calm. What did you do? I squeak out an apology, stumble over words, backpedal, try to mop the coffee with a napkin, fail miserably. It's everywhere. On him, on me, on the floor. I am a disaster. And then he sighs. A real human sigh. He doesn't yell, he doesn't explode, he just steps closer, picks up my shaking hands, guides them gently to pat the remaining coffee off his jacket. My fingers brush his, and suddenly I can feel him. Warm. Solid. Terrifyingly close. You're hopeless, he mutters, but there's a laugh buried in there. I hear it. And it's dangerous, because it makes me want to grin like an idiot. I try not to stare. I fail. Every glance hits me like a shockwave. His green eyes twinkle with something I can't name. Mischief? Amusement? Something more. Stop staring, he says, voice low, teasing, leaning just a fraction closer than necessary. I swallow. My brain goes poof. My mouth opens, closes, opens again. I want to say something smart, something witty, something at all. Instead, I squeak, sorry, coffee, accident, my fault. It's fine, he says, brushing a stray drip off his jacket. Fingers linger a fraction too long. My chest short circuits. And of course, my clumsy, chaotic self can't handle this. I trip over the cord of the projector, flailing and almost faceplant. Adrian grabs my arm, strong, steady, holding me up and way too close. My face is inches from his chest, and my heart is about to explode. You need training, he murmurs, a small, teasing smile tugging at his lips. I mutter something incoherent. He smirks, and in that instant, everything The spilled coffee, the tripping, the chaos, the ridiculous adrenaline pounding through me somehow feels exactly right. We lock eyes. Just for a second. And I swear, I see it there. Amusement, warmth, maybe even a little care. And then the client walks in. Chaos paused, tension suspended, but oh God, I will never be the same around him again. 3 days later, the Milan sunset paints the sky in gold and pink, but I barely notice. Adrian is leaning over the same pitch notes we've been going over for hours, close enough that I can feel him. His arm brushing mine, his scent intoxicating. I try to focus on the presentation, but the air between us is charged. Too many touches, too many sparks, too many "oh God, don't stare" moments. My fingers brush his again, accidentally, and he doesn't pull away. Instead, he leans closer, voice low and teasing. "Focus, Jamie, or the client might notice how distracted you are." I swallow, heart pounding. I'm focused, I lie, hopelessly. He smirks, eyes glinting with mischief. Sure, totally believable. Then the projector cable tangles under my foot, and in a panic, I stumble into him. Coffee from my cup splashes right onto his hand. I freeze. He freezes. I swear we lock eyes for 5 entire seconds before he bursts out laughing. Loud, real, and completely disarming. "You're impossible," he says, shaking his head, wet hand pressed against his chest. I laugh nervously. "You love it." "Maybe I do," he admits, voice low, closer than necessary. I nearly melt on the spot. The city glows outside, the chaos of Milan behind us, and for a fleeting moment I think, maybe this is what love in slow motion feels like. A few days later, the flight back from Milan was quiet, almost too quiet. I kept expecting Adrian to tease me for the coffee incident, but he didn't. Not immediately. Instead, he sat across from me, smirking just a little, that edge of danger still in his eyes. Subtle, tantalizing, impossible to read. The first week back was a blur. Boxes arrived at his apartment, half labeled, some mysteriously empty. He made me help unpack, and somehow every task became a chaotic adventure. Cardboard pyramids fell over, I tripped over cords, spilled coffee again, and somehow still managed to cut myself on a package tape. "You're hopeless," Adrian said, arms crossed, watching me knock over yet another pile of papers. "I'm charming," I replied, grinning despite my disaster streak. He rolled his eyes but helped me pick everything up, his fingers brushing mine every now and then. Every touch made my chest tighten. By the second week, we fell into a strange, perfect routine. Late-night pizza became a ritual. Sometimes we stayed up listening to playlists we shared, arguing over which song was better, teasing each other relentlessly. I caught him humming along quietly when he thought I wasn't looking. He caught me staring at him. More than once. Laundry day was a disaster. He decided to teach me how to fold his shirts properly. I failed spectacularly. Somehow my sleeves were inside out, collars crooked, and yet he didn't get angry. Instead, he showed me again, patient, precise, and somehow close enough that I could smell his cologne, feel his warmth, and nearly forget how to breathe. Some nights I'd wake up to him leaning against the balcony railing, city lights glittering below, quietly nursing a cup of tea. I'd join him. We'd talk about nothing and everything. Books, movies, work disasters, life stories. My hand would brush his accidentally. And one night, he laced his fingers with mine. Warm, steady, comforting. No chaos, no coffee spills. Just us. There were silly moments too. Like when I tried to make pancakes and somehow set the kitchen timer to beep every 30 seconds for 2 hours. Or when we binge-watched old rom-coms, and I almost cried during the final scene of every movie. And of course, the occasional accidental spills on his pristine white sheets. He pretended to be annoyed, but I caught the grin in the corner of his mouth. By the end of 3 weeks, things had subtly shifted. The teasing was softer. The touches lingered longer. And I found myself noticing things I hadn't before. The way he tucked stray hair behind his ear. The way he hummed quietly when he focused. The warmth in his eyes when he thought no one was watching. It wasn't just chemistry anymore. It was comfort, excitement, something dangerous and addictive at the same time. And one night, sitting side by side on the balcony, city lights glittering below, I realized something. In all the chaos, the accidents, the teasing, the late nights, I didn't just like Adrian Vale. I was utterly, completely, hopelessly captivated. Unicorns could fly by. Meteors could streak the sky. Nothing would surprise me anymore. Because in the middle of chaos, in the middle of spilled coffee and failed folding, I had found something rare, impossible, and entirely my own. A week later, we returned to work, and suddenly, it's like a storm has hit. Gossip spreads faster than wildfire. Every whisper, every smirk in the hallway, every sidelong glance from co-workers lands squarely on me and him. Someone mutters, "Looks like the intern is getting very close to Mr. Vale," in the break room. I feel my cheeks heat up. Adrian notices immediately. He corners me privately in the office, voice low but intense. "Jamie, this isn't just about you spilling coffee or tripping over cables anymore." "I know," I say, heart pounding, fingers trembling slightly. I didn't mean for any of this to happen. No," he interrupts sharply, green eyes flashing. Us, it's dangerous. People will talk, and I can't let anyone think you're being compromised because of me." "I don't care what anyone thinks," I say, my voice trembling. I care about you. Not the office, not the gossip." His jaw tightens. He steps closer, voice dropping so low I can barely breathe. "Jamie, do you understand? I've built walls around myself. I've survived fire, betrayal, everything. I can't risk you getting hurt because of me." "Then let me risk it," I whisper. "I'm not going anywhere." He stares at me, the weight of his reputation and the danger of his world pressing down. And for the first time, I see everything in his eyes. Fear, restraint, longing, and maybe trust. A week later. I shouldn't have snooped. I knew it the moment I clicked through old HR memos and internal newsletters. But curiosity, well, let's just say Jamie has no survival instincts when it comes to Adrian Vale. And there it was, Adrian Vale, married, to the CEO's son, divorced, messy, nasty, career-threatening messy. My chest tightened instantly. Suddenly the sharp edges of him made sense, the controlled smiles, the way he always kept people at arm's length, the quiet tension behind every smirk. He had been burned before. Hard. I tried to focus on work after that, but the office had a way of making everything worse. Rumors started circulating. Not loud, not official, but in the subtle, poisonous way gossip spreads. Whispers in the hallway, sly comments in the kitchen, a joke shared with just a glance. My name and his. Together. Everyone knew, or thought they knew. I caught Adrian staring a little too long across the room. That familiar warmth I'd been clinging to, gone. Cold. Reserved. He was still polite, still. Professional. But the teasing smirk, the playful nudges, the subtle touches, all gone. And then he cornered me in his office. The door closed behind him with a decisive click. "Jamie." His voice was low, clipped and firm. Dangerous calm. "This isn't just about you anymore. The office. The rumors. It's escalating." I swallowed hard. My hands shook slightly. Adrian, I don't care what they say. I care about you, not them." "You don't understand," he said, stepping closer. Eyes serious, flashing green in the harsh office light. I've been through fire, Jamie. I've survived betrayal, divorce. And you have no idea how much I've built to protect myself. I won't risk you getting hurt because of me." My stomach sank. Hurt, anger, confusion, all tangled together. "Then let me take that risk." My voice cracked, but I didn't care. "I'm not going anywhere. Not for gossip, not for the office, not for anything. I'm not losing you over this." His jaw tightened. I could see the internal battle behind his eyes. The pull he had toward me, the walls he'd built, the fear of getting burned again. He opened his mouth, then closed it. His voice dropped almost to a whisper. "Jamie, you don't understand how dangerous this is. You're too important to me to risk it." "Then stop holding back," I shot back, heart pounding. "Stop pretending that you're protecting me. I trust you. I choose you, Adrian. Always." The tension between us was suffocating, electric. I wanted to touch him, to prove I meant every word. I wanted him to drop the walls. I wanted him to admit he felt the same. He stared at me, silent for long, unbearable seconds. And in that moment, I realized this wasn't just flirtation, not just chaos. It was something bigger, dangerous, messy, and maybe the most real thing either of us had ever felt. The fallout was inevitable. Office gossip continued, whispers continued, and Adrian pulled back, cold, professional, distant. And all I could do was wait, burning with frustration, longing, and the certainty that I would fight for him, no matter the risk. 2 weeks later. Boardroom. Bright lights, client faces staring. My slides are prepped. I'm nervous but ready. And then, disaster. Halfway through my pitch, my laptop crashes. Slides vanish. Charts disappear. Every carefully rehearsed line evaporates. My heart stops. My face burns. I hear the faint, smug laughter of a jealous coworker I'd accidentally annoyed last week. I'm about to crumble. About to apologize, mumble, and run for the hills. Then Adrian steps forward. Calm, commanding. "We've got this," he murmurs, just to me, side by side. And somehow, we finish the presentation together. Adrian handles the tricky questions. I add my parts. And the client is none the wiser. We're a team. Flawless. Electric. And when it's over, I can't help but glance at him, chest pounding. A while later, I'm sulking in the corner, feeling small and exhausted. Then I feel it before I see it. Adrian's hand on my shoulder. Solid. Warm. Dangerous. "You keep making me break every rule I built," he says softly, eyes serious. And I don't even care anymore. I look up. His green eyes are soft now. Honest. And for the first time, there's no teasing, no tension, just choice. I lean in. He leans in. And our lips meet. Properly this time. No wires, no spills, no chaos. Just us. For the first time in months. Everything feels right. A few days later. I thought I'd survived Milan, survived the chaos, survived Adrian's dangerous charm. But no. Life had other plans. A photo of us kissing at the airport leaked. I don't know how. I don't know why. I just know my stomach dropped like a lead weight when my phone buzzed with a million notifications. Emails, texts, Slack messages, gossip. Everyone knew. And the board? Oh, they were furious. "Adrian Vale's position is at risk," one message said. "Unprofessional conduct." I panicked. Of course I did. My first instinct? Take the blame. Offer to resign. Say it was my fault. Protect him. "Adrian, I'll..." He cut me off, calm and unshakable. "No." I blinked. "No? I'd rather lose my title than lose him," he said, voice low, steady, deadly serious. My heart stopped. Just stopped. And for a moment, the chaos of everything, the office gossip, the jealousy, the messiness of our lives, fell away. It was just him. Just us. And somehow, against all odds, everyone loved it. The moment went viral again. This time, not scandalous, not shameful, romantic. Everyone is secretly rooting for us. The chaos finally felt like magic. A few months later, Adrian resigned. Not quietly, not under pressure, but on his own terms. The boutique agency he started was small, daring, and perfectly him. Elegant, chaotic, brilliant, and absolutely unafraid. And somehow, in the middle of all that chaos, I found myself not just following him, but joining him. Not as an intern. Not as some nervous assistant desperately trying to survive his gaze. I joined him as a partner. An equal, someone who had his back no matter what. The thought made my chest swell in a way I hadn't felt in years. Starting from scratch wasn't easy. The office was a mess of boxes, scattered cables, and half-assembled desks. Coffee cups teetered on precarious edges. Our first brainstorming session nearly ended in a spilled espresso avalanche. And of course, Adrian gave me that look. The one that said, "You're lucky I love you," or "You'd be cleaning this up with your tongue." But it wasn't just chaos. It was ours. Every late-night meeting, every ridiculous pitch, every tiny victory and disaster felt like we were building something together. Not just a company, but a life. I learned how patient he could be. I learned how careful he was with people he cared about. And I learned that he noticed every little thing about me. The way I chewed my pen cap when nervous, the tiny smile that escaped when I thought he wasn't looking, the way my panic was both chaotic and endearing. One evening, after hours of unpacking, setting up the office, and nearly electrocuting ourselves with a tangle of cords, I sat on the edge of a half-assembled desk, exhausted, and looked at him. "At least this time," I said, smirking despite my tiredness. "I didn't strip you to get a promotion." He leaned against the doorway, arms crossed, smirk tugging at his lips, and shook his head. "Give it time," he said, voice low, teasing, dangerous. I laughed. He laughed. And in that moment, with the city lights of our new office glowing behind him, I realized something. Chaos didn't feel like terror anymore. Chaos felt like home. Home with him. Later, as we settled into our new routine, there were moments of pure, ridiculous fun. Coffee fights in the break room. Sneaking onto the office balcony just to watch the sunset. Projector cables mysteriously breaking when I got bored. Every small disaster was a reminder of how far we'd come. From a ripped shirt and spilled water in a boardroom to building something real together. And Adrian? He wasn't just my boss anymore. He was my partner, my safe place, my chaos twin. The man who terrified me, frustrated me, and haunted me for months, had become the center of my life in a way I'd never expected but couldn't imagine living without. I looked at him one evening as he leaned back in his chair, reviewing client notes with his signature smirk. "You know," I said softly, "I never thought I'd survive you." He glanced up, eyes soft, amused, serious, all at once. "And yet here you are," he said, voice low, almost a whisper, "thriving." With me, I smiled. And for once, I didn't panic. I didn't stumble. I didn't worry about accidents, disasters, or gossip. Chaos could come, storms could hit, and projector cables could still betray me. But it didn't matter. Because this time, the chaos was ours. And that was perfect. A few months later, our new office was perfect. Well, as perfect as a space full of boxes, half-assembled desks, and Adrian's meticulously organized chaos could be. And of course, I was already causing trouble. I crouched by the projector, tugging at the cable like it was a puzzle designed to ruin my life. My fingers fumbled. My brain raced. I knew I shouldn't, but I couldn't resist. Old habits die hard. "Jamie, don't you dare," Adrian's voice cut through the room like a warning siren. He was standing at the doorway, arms crossed, his signature smirk replaced with pure, stern panic. "Relax, boss," I said, grinning innocently. "I've learned my lesson." Famous last words. I pulled the cable. There was a loud rip, the kind of sound that makes your ears bleed and your soul briefly die. Adrian's eyes went wide. Mouth fell open. "I take it back," he groaned, sprinting over to help. I couldn't help it. I laughed. Loud, chaotic, helpless laughter. He groaned, scolding me, but the corners of his mouth twitched. From the corner, the CEO, who had somehow come in to check on the new office setup, looked horrified, flustered, and slightly amused all at once. "Is this normal?" he muttered. Adrian shot him a glare. "Absolutely not." "This is Jamie," I laughed even harder. Adrian rolled his eyes, but I caught the sparkle of amusement in his green eyes. And as we cleaned up the mess together, I realized some chaos was permanent. Some teasing would never end. Some laughter would always echo in our new office. But I didn't care. Because of this chaos, this adorable, infuriating, flirty chaos, it was ours. And that finally felt like home. The end. Have you ever had a disaster at work that could also be turned into a romance story? Thanks for watching. Subscribe to become part of our Rainbow Force. And consider joining our membership for early access and exclusive content. Stay wholesome.